this evening. First on the list is an update on the GIC health insurance program. Mr. Chairman and I, we did attend a meeting of the Insurance Advisory Committee that was held last week to introduce the GIC program. This was a meeting that we held with our various employee labor units, an individual from the Metropolitan Area Planning Council, MAPC, which is designated as being the spokesperson for municipalities on the GIC program, was present, and he described the process used for adoption of the GIC and responded to questions from both employees and retirees who were present at the meeting. I think he did actually a very good job, and a copy of his presentation is attached. It's just 2 pages, pretty simple. It's presented from the employee's perspective, which I think is helpful. The next opportunity for us to participate in the GIC would be July of 2009. And the town needs to state its intentions to the GIC no later than October of this year. So that's the deadline, and the date that we're looking at is October of this year. You have a copy again of the presentation that was made to the GIC, to the Insurance Advisory Committee. And all the particulars associated with the GIC are included in this.
I thought that he did a good job of presenting the GIC from a neutral zone, flagging the things that they should be concerned with and what the potential benefits might be. It was an interesting group because it wasn't a small group, but the largest number of people there were retirees.
Were each of our collective bargaining units represented?
I believe so.
They were all invited. My recollection was there was 1 or 2 of them that would have been missing, but they all received an invite to the meeting.
Who was missing? Public Works?
Police? There was no one from the police there. I think Public Works was missing.
Yeah.
Everyone else was there and was
Someone from fire, right? And the school.
School was there.
And also the Mass Teachers Association rep was there.
Fire was there. Town Hall clerical was there.
And as far as the Insurance Advisory Committee's role in making the recommendations to this board?
Strictly to recommend. Strictly to recommend, and again, we didn't see any resistance to the presentation.
And as far as I understand, Blue Cross Blue Shield is going to be making a pitch, or has already?
They already have made a pitch.
And that pitch was made to the same group? Same day, different day?
I think it was, the Blue Cross pitch was probably made a week or 2 before.
Greg, on the GIC, we've got to get a 70% vote, favorable vote.
Is that from
the
all
labor union.
affected members, or is it 70% of the unions, or 70%
Well,
of what?
it's a weighted membership. For example, I think the retirees get a 10%.
Right.
And then the others are broken up accordingly. So it's got to be a 70%. Where the Blue Cross, it would be individual negotiations with each union, right?
Right.
Or is it with the insurance group? How does that one work? That's different, right?
To participate in the GIC, the town needs to, if you want to turn to the summary, GIC fact sheet. And the second page, key points of chapter 67 of the Acts of 2007. Second bullet, decisions to join the GIC must be collected between municipal leaders, public employees, etc. The proposal uses the existing mechanism of coalition bargaining, section 19, chapter 32, stakeholders together to make a decision. Presently, the town has not enacted the provisions of Section 19, so as Chairman Messeri suggested, any changes that we would make to our Blue Cross plan that's existing, we would, if necessary, we would engage in collective bargaining discussions with our secretaries.
But the GIC, the way this GIC thing works is that if let's say, if a certain union votes for it, right? Now, whatever their vote is, it could be 51 to 49 in the union. But if they vote 51 to 49%, right, we get credit for the whole percentage of the union. So if the union is 65% by itself, then that's 65% of the employees that are in favor of it, in effect.
Yeah, you're right.
That's the way it works.
Yeah, the key here is that,
Winner take all on each.
Exactly, winner take all. Once the union says we're in favor of it, regardless of what their vote is, we get the whole credit for all the union.
the key though here is that we haven't adopted the coalition bargaining, and it's probably not advisable that we do, right?
Not without the GIC option being
Right.
part of that.
Well,
You
in
can't-
order to adopt it, it's just a vote of this board, or does it take town meeting action in order to
No,
authorize it?
it's a vote of this board to open the door to begin that negotiation process, that public employee committee. Once the Board of Selectmen votes, you're stating your intention to participate in the GIC. The town would then engage in negotiations with this public employee group that would be created. As a result of those negotiations, we would try to reach a written agreement between the parties and obviously do that before October of 2008. And if that agreement were reached, then ultimately the Board of Selectmen would have the final authority to adopt and vote that agreement, and that would be the final step.
So when are we gonna vote that?
And why aren't we doing that?
I don't think that there's any reason why we can't do it.
Okay.
In other words, starting the process by saying that we wish to state the town's position and pursuing the option of the GIC. I think that would be appropriate.
So why don't we set that up for the next
So let's set up a next meeting and.
Our next
You good,
meeting.
Mr.
I
Chairman?
didn't wanna just
Yeah, I
run
think
off
it's a
and do
good
it
idea.
without,
I think we should move forward and
Yeah.
provide ourselves with the option.
Yep.
It certainly would facilitate the discussion and move the issue forward. But at the same time, as far as, explain to me again how
sure we
the,
schedule enough time in our meeting.
yeah, as far as the Blue Cross Blue Shield, I mean, that, in the interim, if we can negotiate something with Blue Cross Blue Shield that could save us some costs, that's certainly something we should be doing for the fiscal year we're talking about.
Right.
And what is the process that's required?
There's no vote of the board that's required to do that. What we would be looking to do is to offer additional
Plans.
Blue Cross plans to employees.
But that can be done within the four corners of the existing contract,
Yes.
right? So we
Yeah,
don't
the
really
difference
need-
here, the difference, Phil, is that in the past, Blue Cross would not offer different plans.
But now they've got some competition, which is a
Right.
good
So,
thing.
so that's the difference.
Yeah. Because that savings would be immediate. That would be in the
Well,
current fiscal year, whereas the other one is down the road.
It was interesting, I talked to our Blue Cross rep before the meeting the chairman and I were at, and they wanted to know what we were going to be discussing with the GIC, and I said, well, why don't you come on up? So our Blue Cross rep was at that meeting, didn't say anything,
I didn't even know that.
but listened to the discussion, and I think that's probably ultimately helpful in terms of the town trying to broker a deal through them to the advantage of all parties.
And how soon can you get a proposal from them to offer new programs to the employees which may realize some benefit, financial benefit to the town?
Blue Cross needs 6 months' worth of claim history, which closes at the end of this month, to give us a proposal. So I would expect right after the conclusion, the 6-month period ending on January 31st, we'll be getting rating information directly from them along with a price quote of different options that they would have available to us.
Joe.
Could I just ask a question? I just heard something which I may have heard wrong. Are we saying the Blue Cross now only offers us one plan?
Yes.
In other words, they don't offer a preferred and then a lesser plan?
We have, Joe, I stand corrected, we have 3 Blue Cross
Three,
plans.
okay, that's,
We have HMO Blue, which is the
yep,
lowest cost
then the
plan.
preferred,
Blue Care Act,
yep,
and then we offer something that's comparable to an indemnity plan, where
Right.
it's just a few people that are enrolled in it. But the HMO is the highest price, the lowest price of those plans.
Right.
The goal would be to offer plans that are perhaps lower in cost than the HMO plan, and seek to have an inclusion.
Okay. Okay.
That's it.
Yeah. Great.
Okay? Anything else?
So I'll put it on the agenda for the next meeting.
Yes, yeah.
We'll have to talk about February meetings before the meeting too.
Board members, the next item is a summary of the fiscal 2008 revenue report, not 2009, 2008 revenue report, for the period ending December 31st, 2007. I was ahead of myself.
I guess so.
The information that you have is the form that you've seen before, which is a summary of 6-month revenues. As of December 31st, the town was at 32% of its revenues collected. You'll see a summary. It's Town of North Reading fiscal year 2008 estimated receipts analysis. And it starts off with motor vehicle excise tax at 20%, 43% on penalties and interest. And then the key number would be total estimated receipts collections of 32%. And then you'll see a summary of real estate, state receipts, and personal property taxes. A grand total of, including state receipts, real estate taxes, we've collected 47% as of the halfway point in the fiscal year, which is roughly comparable if you would turn to the next page. The next page would be fiscal year 2007 receipts, showing where we stood on December 31st of 2006. And you would see that we were in fact at 46% total collections, and our motor vehicle excise tax collections as of that point were weaker than they are right now. There's been quite a bit reported through the Department of Revenue that there's a weakening of motor vehicle excise tax on a statewide basis. Our major commitment on motor vehicle excise bills will be issued in February and March, and so we can only say that where we are right now, we're no worse than we were a year ago on motor vehicle excise, and we're in a similar situation in terms of overall receipts, total overall receipts this year compared to last year. So we're in decent condition. There's no red flags. There's no panic. Where we are, and you can look and analyze each of the different categories and see where they may have gone up and may have gone down. Just keep in mind that when you look at the FY 2008 actual revenues, that we were more aggressive in projecting increases in some of these categories. For example, if you were to look at investment income, we budgeted investment income last year at $125,000. This year we bumped that up to $176,000. There are other categories that obviously you can see go up and down depending upon what the town's actual history is.
We'll have to bump it down after today.
And I think the
Was it bad
No,
news?
they lowered the interest rates and everything, so obviously your return on your investments are gonna.
Yep.
The motor vehicle excise tax of the past 2 years actuals was down last year.
We're barely meeting our numbers, and we've been fortunate. I think in the history of North Reading, we've always exceeded our projections, perhaps in the range of 2 to 3% above what we projected. We're just barely meeting the number that we have right now.
Which is the impact on free cash, so just keep that in mind.
The good news is some communities are seeing a real significant downturn. And you received some notice through the assessors and their efforts to trying to boost that motor vehicle excise tax number. Anywhere we can find $1, we'll turn over a rock and try to find it, do the best we can.
Can I ask you a question? May I?
Yeah, of course.
The increase that we've shown on the personal property, right, number, the 6 million number, is that in our revenue budget? Is that, the revenue from that, is that in the budget
Personal.
at that number?
No,
That's
they
a big
wouldn't have
one.
been.
No. That would be in FY '09. You're talking about
Okay.
what the Board of Assessors
Right,
came in and
right.
presented at the last meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we need to quantify the number that was stated here publicly before we obviously